Before Arnold, there was a real titan. Raw power, unshakable discipline, and a mindset that shaped generations. Reg Park wasn't just muscle. He was vision, humility, and legacy. Think you know the history of bodybuilding? Today, we're digging deeper than legends. We're going back to the roots. Where did the whole idea of the perfect physique even come from? Who taught us that real strength is way more than just how you look? Get ready to meet the man who built this sport with his own two hands. This isn't just history, it's pure inspiration. Welcome to Reg Park's real journey. When people think of bodybuilding, one name pops up right away: Arnold Schwarzenegger. The global icon, forever immortalized in Pumping Iron, 1977, inspired millions to hit the weights and chase that dream physique. But have you ever wondered who inspired him? Before Arnold became a legend, there was another giant paving the way. That name is Reg Park, a true legend of 1950s and 60s bodybuilding. Reg wasn't just famous for his incredible physique. He was known for his freakish strength. This guy was throwing around massive weights long before steroids became common, which makes his achievements even more impressive. Born in 1928 in Leeds, England, Reg was always a physically active kid. Funny enough, he didn't start out with weights. His first love was soccer, or football, as they call it across the pond. He played seriously through his youth, but fate had other plans. One random day, he stopped by the local pool and saw a man with a crazy muscular build, something he'd never seen up close before. That image stuck with him. Right then and there, Reg decided he wanted to transform his body too. No big ambitions at first, just pure motivation. Soon after, Reg started training more seriously and aimed for competitions. His first major shot was at the 1946 Mr. Britain contest, where he impressively snagged 4th place. Not bad for a rookie, right? But life had a detour in store. He was drafted into the British Army, putting his bodybuilding dreams on hold. During his military service, Reg worked as a physical training instructor in Malaysia. That experience actually helped him sharpen his physique even more. Far from the competition scene, he kept grinding, building strength that would become his trademark. By the time he returned to England, he was more than ready to step back on stage. In 1949, his comeback was epic. Reg Park won Mr. Britain, cementing his place as a top name in British bodybuilding's next generation. That victory was just the beginning of a legendary journey. From that point on, he became a favorite at international competitions, known for his size and perfect proportions. Here's a mind-blowing stat from that time. In just 1 year, Reg went from 176 pounds to a whopping 225 pounds of solid muscle. And it wasn't just the weight. His arm size jumped from 14 inches to a beastly 18 inches in record time. Those numbers speak volumes about his work ethic and relentless discipline. Impressive, right? And what about you? Ever imagine what it's like to pack on 50 pounds of muscle in a single year? Sounds impossible these days, right? But Reg Park actually did it, thanks to insane dedication and some seriously elite genetics. After winning the Mr. Britain title in 1949, Reg was ready to chase even bigger dreams. His parents, fully believing in their son's potential, decided to back him up and funded his trip to the United States. That move changed everything. It gave him access to the best equipment, training methods, and international exposure that the bodybuilding world had to offer. Once in the U.S., Reg crossed paths with Joe Weider, the godfather of modern bodybuilding and the mastermind behind the IFBB. Joe was instantly impressed by the British powerhouse. In this new world of opportunity, Reg crushed it and won the Best Physique in America title in 1950, a massive achievement for a foreigner on American soil. That moment officially put him on the global map. But even with all that success, Reg still had one big goal in sight: the Mr. Universe title, the most prestigious competition of the era. In his first attempt, he came in second, losing to none other than Steve Reeves, the legendary bodybuilder and actor who famously played Hercules on the big screen. But that defeat didn't shake him. If anything, it lit a fire under him to come back stronger. While gearing up for another shot at Mr. Universe, Reg kept competing and bagged the Mr. Europe title, stacking up trophies and building his international fame. During this time, His physique kept evolving, but always with that trademark balance and proportion that made him stand out from the crowd. His big moment came in 1951, when he finally took home the Mr. Universe crown. It was a well-earned recognition of his relentless work and raw talent. And he didn't stop there. In 1958, he became a two-time champ, and by 1965, he had claimed a third title, making him the first athlete in history to win Mr. Universe 3 times. These victories cemented Park as a true legend in the sport. His combination of jaw-dropping physique, charisma, and strong work ethic earned him fans all over the globe. He wasn't just a good-looking body. He was the definition of discipline, resilience, and passion for bodybuilding. But Reg Park's legacy wasn't just about trophies and muscles. Outside the spotlight, he built a solid and inspiring life. During a trip to South Africa, he met Marion, who would become his wife. Their connection was so strong, he chose to settle down there, far from the fame of England and the US. That decision showed that Reg's vision of life went way beyond competitions. In South Africa, he found a perfect place to grow his mission. He opened his own gyms and brought bodybuilding culture to a whole new audience, people who'd never had real access to that world before. His approach was simple and powerful. Train hard, stay disciplined, and build your body based on solid principles. Slowly but surely, he built up a loyal following of students and fans. But gyms weren't enough. Reg also started organizing events like the prestigious Mr. South Africa, a competition that helped put the sport on the map in the country. And these weren't small-time shows. He'd bring in bodybuilding legends like Bill Pearl and Larry Scott to attend and participate, boosting the sport's visibility and building a serious scene in South Africa. More than just a businessman and event organizer, Reg was seen as a mentor to many up-and-coming athletes. And among them was a young fan who'd one day become the biggest name in bodybuilding history, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Young Arnold looked up to Reg as the ultimate role model, not just for his strength and size, but for his values, humility, and long-term vision. That admiration played a huge role in shaping who Arnold became. It's worth pointing out that Reg's influence on Arnold wasn't just theoretical. The two actually trained together, and Reg mentored Arnold in more than just bodybuilding. They talked life, mindset, the whole deal. That exchange of experience was key to shaping the champion mentality Arnold would become famous for. But we'll get into that in a bit. Reg Park's impact was so massive that many see him as the bridge between old-school bodybuilding and the modern era. He was among the first to see the sport as a complete lifestyle, body, mind, and business all wrapped together. His influence crossed borders and generations, leaving a deep mark on bodybuilding history worldwide. When young Arnold Schwarzenegger met Reg Park, he noticed something right away. Reg wasn't just big, he was genuinely strong. While a lot of athletes back then chased aesthetics alone, Park firmly believed that true strength was the foundation of an impressive, functional physique. That philosophy shaped an entire generation of bodybuilders and is a huge reason why Reg is remembered as a true pioneer. The numbers don't lie. Reg was benching 500 pounds, 227.5 kilograms, squatting 600 pounds, 272 kilograms for doubles, and deadlifting nearly 700 pounds, 317 kilograms for a single rep. And this was back when supplements were barely a thing and performance enhancers weren't easily available like today. But don't think he just trained randomly. Reg was methodical, always tweaking his workouts to suit his own needs. He knew copying someone else's routine without understanding your own body was a recipe for failure. That's why, even though you can't just copy-paste Reg Park's workouts and expect the same results, his training principles became a global reference. His most famous contribution? The iconic Reg Park 5x5 program. But here's the thing, most people oversimplify it. They think it's just 5 sets of 5 reps and call it a day. Wrong. In Reg's original method, the first 2 sets are warm-ups, and only the last 3 are your real working sets. This gradual buildup is key to preparing your muscles, tendons, and nervous system for the heavy loads. Picture this. If your 5 rep max on the bench press is 220 pounds, 100 kilograms, you don't start with that. Your first set might be 110 pounds, 50 kilograms, the second at 165 pounds, 75 kilograms, and only from the third set on do you hit that full 220 pounds. That's the secret sauce for safely increasing your load week after week. And when it came to progression, Reg preached small, controlled increases, like adding 2.5 pounds, 1 kilogram per side on the bar. Slow and steady always beats rushing and getting injured. Another crucial point was rest time between sets. For heavy work sets, Reg recommended up to 3 minutes of rest. This allowed for proper ADP recovery, ensuring you could give max effort on the next set. His workouts weren't about pump chasing or endless volume with short rests. They were about building real strength and serious hypertrophy. His weekly routine was simple and brutal. Mondays were for barbell bench press, bent over rows, and free barbell squats. Wednesdays had dips, pull-ups, and deadlifts. Fridays hit military presses, one-arm dumbbell rows, and, you guessed it, squats again. Calves and abs were thrown in on alternating days, always after the main lifts, respecting muscle recovery. But Reg always warned, messing with this structure without understanding its logic was a big mistake. He criticized people who mixed training styles without any strategy, creating Frankenstein routines that went nowhere. The foundation was simple: focus on strength, progressive overload, perfect form, and patience. Stick to that, and you'd build a rock-solid physique. A lot of folks still think strength training is just for powerlifters and bodybuilders should only care about aesthetics. Reg Park proved that idea wrong. For him, strength was the root of aesthetics. A powerful-looking physique only came from a solid foundation of real lifting. This mindset heavily influenced Arnold's own training philosophy, and he passed it on to future generations. The relationship between Reg Park and Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the most iconic stories in bodybuilding. To grasp how much it meant, picture a young Austrian kid with big dreams, totally fascinated by a hero he'd only seen in magazines and movie screens. That kid was Arnold, and his idol, of course, was Reg Park. Their first meeting happened in 1966, and Arnold describes it as a total shock. Seeing the man who inspired his entire career, live and in person, left him speechless. Right after they met, Park and Arnold built a friendship that went way beyond distant admiration. They even went on tour together across the UK and Ireland, promoting bodybuilding and doing exhibitions. That time together was crucial for Arnold. He wasn't just learning training techniques, he was absorbing an entire champion's mindset passed down from master to student. During that tour, Reg quickly spotted Arnold's massive potential. He didn't just see a strong kid. He saw someone with fierce discipline and an unstoppable will to succeed. That's when Reg made a bold prediction. He told Arnold he'd win the 1967 Mr. Universe. For some, it might have sounded like just a motivational line. But for Arnold, hearing that from his biggest idol was like getting a golden seal of approval. And he didn't disappoint. In 1967, Arnold won his first Mr. Universe title, just as Reg had said. Their relationship went far beyond competitions. Reg Park became a true mentor to Arnold. This wasn't just about training sessions or lifting tips. Reg literally welcomed Arnold into his home, treating him like family. What Arnold learned from Reg wasn't just physical. He soaked up values like humility, discipline, long-term vision, and the understanding that real success demands patience and daily dedication. That foundation was essential not only for Arnold's victories on stage, but also for his legendary success in Hollywood and even politics. Over the years, Arnold never stopped giving Reg credit. In interviews, speeches, even his books, he always made a point of highlighting how much Reg meant to his journey. Their bond became a rare example in the competitive world of bodybuilding. Proof that beyond rivals and titles, you can build true mentorship and friendship. One of the most iconic moments in their story came in 1970. Reg Park, at 42 years old, decided to step back on stage at Mr. Universe, facing none other than his protege and biggest admirer, Arnold. The hype was unreal. On one side, the master who had inspired generations. On the other, the student, now ready to take the bodybuilding crown. For Arnold, it was like facing a living legend. For Reg, it was a chance to prove that age meant nothing to someone with discipline and love for the sport. Though Arnold won that showdown, Reg's performance was unforgettable. He stepped on stage with an incredible physique, especially for his age. His presence, poise, and dense muscle mass showed a level of elegance and strength that few could match. Even without the trophy, Reg made it clear that his class and legacy were far bigger than any competition result. In 1971, Reg competed again, this time going up against other giants like Bill Pearl and Sergio Oliva. It was set to be a fierce battle, but unfortunately, Reg struggled with his prep. Issues with his diet and final conditioning phase kept him from bringing the level of physique he aimed for. Reg's last official competition was in 1973, where he earned a well-deserved second place. Though he didn't top the podium, his performance was impressive and once again showed why he remained such a respected figure in the sport. It marked the end of a brilliant competitive career, one defined not just by titles, but by ethics, inspiration, and genuine love for bodybuilding. But one of the most iconic chapters of his stage legacy was still to come. In 1980, at 52 years old, Reg was invited for a legendary guest posing appearance at the Mr. Olympia in Sydney, Australia. Even though it wasn't a competition, Reg hit the stage with the same commanding presence that had defined his career. The crowd went wild. This wasn't just a muscle show. It was a living tribute to bodybuilding history. Reg's appearance was a true celebration of everything he represented. That 1980 Olympia moment was symbolic for many reasons. Besides reconnecting with fans, it was also the controversial comeback of Arnold, who won that Olympia amidst a lot of debate. In the middle of all that tension, Reg's guest posing brought a much-needed sense of class and respect to the event, reminding everyone of the sport's roots and the core values he had helped build. Reg Park's influence didn't stop when he stepped off the competition stage. In fact, his legacy kept growing, shaping bodybuilding in even deeper ways. One of his biggest contributions was launching Mr. Universe magazine, which later became known as Reg Park magazine. Back then, this was one of the key platforms spreading the word about bodybuilding, educating athletes, and inspiring newcomers, in a time when good information was hard to come by. Through his magazine, Reg brought bodybuilding to a much wider audience, especially across Europe, where the sport was still finding its footing. His articles covered everything from training techniques to life philosophy, always written in an accessible, down-to-earth way, drawing from his vast personal experience. He understood that the sport's real growth depended on quality information, and he made it his mission to share his knowledge with as many people as possible. Beyond his own publication, Reg contributed to numerous renowned fitness magazines, becoming a respected writer and educator. But more importantly, he always approached these opportunities with a selfless spirit. A perfect example, in 1974, he wrote an article for Muscle Mag, completely free of charge. While most contributors charged hefty fees, Reg chose to support the sport's growth out of pure passion. And this wasn't a one-time gesture. Throughout his life, Reg Park stood out for his generosity and genuine desire to help others grow. He wasn't driven by vanity or chasing easy money. His passion was elevating bodybuilding into something bigger, more respected and accessible to everyone. Many people who make a living from the sport today, whether as athletes, coaches, or professionals, owe a big part of that opportunity to Reg's quiet, dedicated work. His legacy is still very much alive today. His training philosophy, his 5x5 method, his vision of bodybuilding as a lifestyle, not just a competition, continues to be applied and taught worldwide. Arnold Schwarzenegger, for instance, has never stopped acknowledging Reg as his greatest mentor. Events like the Arnold Classic still carry a piece of Park's essence in every detail. But Reg's impact wasn't limited to gyms and competitions. He also made his mark on the big screen, bringing his imposing physique to the world of entertainment. He became iconic as Hercules in 4 Italian films, where his physical presence dominated the screen. Unlike many movie stars, his body wasn't CGI or camera tricks. It was the real deal, built through years of relentless training. Hercules wasn't the only legendary hero he portrayed. Reg also took on roles like Samson, reinforcing his image of raw strength and integrity. Back then, with limited special effects, casting Reg for these roles was a no-brainer. He had the size, the stature, and the credibility to bring these mythical figures to life. His acting, while simple, captivated audiences with that perfect mix of natural charisma and sheer presence. Recognition for his contributions to bodybuilding and popular culture came in many forms. In 1986, Reg Park was officially inducted into the American Bodybuilding Hall of Fame, an honor reserved for the sport's true legends. It was a fitting tribute to a career that had crossed borders and inspired generations. But the accolades didn't stop there. Over the following years, Reg received multiple awards recognizing his impact on the sport, including distinctions in 1990 and 1993, celebrating his crucial role in bodybuilding's growth and global popularity. These awards weren't just about trophies or titles. They honored the lasting influence he had as an athlete, mentor, entrepreneur, and ambassador for the sport. Reg was one of the first to truly see bodybuilding as more than competitions. For him, it was a way of life. One of the most memorable compliments came from Joe Weider, the father of modern bodybuilding, who called Reg Park a true gentleman. In a world often filled with oversized egos and vanity-driven rivalries, Reg stood out with his humble, ethical, and generous character. For Weider, Reg embodied what bodybuilding should be: strength with grace, discipline with integrity, success with humanity. If there's one word that defines Reg Park beyond strength, it's humility. Despite a brilliant career, international titles, and iconic movie roles, he never let fame get to his head. He lived a simple life, stayed grounded, and always saw bodybuilding as more than a platform for ego or money. For Reg, the sport was pure passion, a way of life he embraced with dedication and respect, never compromising his values. Funny enough, even with his movie fame, Reg had a modest relationship with his acting career. He rarely bragged about playing Hercules or Samson and didn't even watch his own films that much. For him, acting was just an extension of bodybuilding, a way to bring the sport to a broader audience, never a vanity project. Beyond being an athlete and actor, Reg also served as a judge at major events, including the prestigious Mr. Olympia. In that role, he carried the same ethics and integrity that defined his entire life. That integrity earned him admiration from everyone around him. Reg treated everyone the same, whether it was a gym newbie or a seasoned champion. His genuine humility and simple, down-to-earth way of connecting with people built a loyal following that went far beyond the bodybuilding world. Even as fame started to take over the sport, Reg never chased the spotlight. His priority was always staying true to his principles. He didn't need to be loud to be heard, or constantly in the public eye to be remembered. His actions spoke volumes. He built his legacy brick by brick, with serious work, ethics, and an unshakable passion for bodybuilding. In 2007, after being diagnosed with skin cancer, Reg Park kept fighting. He stayed active, continued sharing his life philosophy, and kept teaching until the very end. The illness didn't stop his mission: to inspire, educate, and show that bodybuilding is more than just muscles. It's about discipline, character, and overcoming adversity. On November 22, 2007, at 79 years old, Reg passed away in South Africa, the country he chose as his home. But his passing wasn't the end. It was the beginning of an eternal legacy. Looking back, Reg Park was far more than an athlete. He was an iron titan, a living example that strength and humility can go hand in hand. His influence crossed generations, shaped champions, and helped define the modern vision of bodybuilding. If today we admire symmetrical physiques, smart training, and a lifestyle focused on self-development, much of that traces back to Reg's journey. And now I want to hear from you. Which part of Reg's story inspired you the most? Was it his legendary face-off with Arnold? His iconic 5x5 training philosophy? Or maybe how he handled fame with such simplicity? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed learning about Reg Park's life, make sure to smash that like button. It really helps spread this content to more people. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next story of bodybuilding legends. Oh, and if you're still hungry for more, check out the video right here on the card. I'm sure you're going to love it. Keep following us on this journey through iron history.